Welcome to Chess the Gathering, the prototype where we ask, what if chess and Magic the Gathering had a baby in a dungeon? So if you want to create your own boards, summon creatures, alter how they behave, throw up obstacles, and murder a friend or three, then sit back and let us teach you how to play, because there is no in-game tutorial. It's a prototype. This crappy video is all you get. The game begins and ends with these guys. These are your twins. It begins with them because each player places each of their twins on the board at the beginning of the game. It ends with them because if either of your twins die, you lose. Twins can move one space in any direction, just like a king in chess. Alright, let's start casting some spells. Every card in your hand is a spell card, and they're broken into basically two categories: creature spells and non-creature spells. There are only three creature cards: the fish, the snake, and the eagle. Each creature card has arrows around it to indicate which way it moves. So you can see the fish is like a bishop, the snake is like a rook, and the eagle is like a queen. Creature spells are special in that you can only cast them where your twins can see. Twins can see in straight lines on the board outward from themselves. Think of the way a queen moves, except they can't cast in any adjacent space to themselves. However, if another twin can see those adjacent squares, they can still cast there. In this way, twins can defend each other. Non-creature spells can be placed anywhere. They don't require line of sight. Creatures traveling through a swamp have to stop there for a turn. Walls, however, can't be traveled through. You can break a wall by ramming a creature into it, but you'll sacrifice that creature to do it. Keep in mind that creatures, swamps, and walls block line of sight. You'll probably want to block your opponent's line of sight and try to keep yours as open as possible. So taking into account line of sight, be careful where you place your twins at the beginning of the game. Generally, defensive spots will have poor line of sight, and spots with better line of sight are therefore exposed to attack. There are two spells in the prototype that alter creatures' movement. Ricochet only affects diagonally moving pieces. You can see the arrows on the card that show what it affects. When you cast Ricochet on a piece, a token appears underneath it. That piece can now ricochet off the edge of the board. Wraparound can only be cast on horizontally and vertically moving creatures. Wraparound does kind of what it sounds like. You go off one far edge of the board and wrap around to the other. Think about the tunnel in Pac-Man, or the wraparound levels in a virus named Tom. This is a pretty awesome way to instantly put an opponent's twin in danger. Oh, and one last thing about spells. No spell can be cast on a twin, and non-creature spells can cancel each other. This means that if you have a ricochet or a wall, you can remove ricochet from one of your opponent's pieces, or remove a wall they've been hiding behind. So other than casting, the only other thing you really have to do is move. To move, simply click on one of your pieces to see where you can move it. Then click on the square you want to move to. You can also click on your opponent's creatures to see their movements, and control click will let you see multiple. Let's go ahead and run through the 4 phases of the game. The first phase is accrue mana. This one happens automatically. You're going to get 1 mana per turn per creature on the board, including your twins. So you'll start off with 2 mana per turn, and get 1 additional each time you cast a creature, and 1 less each time you lose one. Mana is used to cast spells. Each card has a mana cost, shown in the upper right-hand corner. Mana carries over from turn to turn, so you can save it up. However, it does cap at 10. There's a very rich get richer mechanic going on here, so keep that in mind when casting creatures. The next phase is move. Here you simply move 1 piece. As always, the question is which piece and where to. The third phase is casting creatures and spells, which we've already gone over. You don't have to cast spells if you don't want. You can simply save your mana. Or you can cast multiple spells. The final phase is also automatic. Here you just draw a card to end your turn. We do it at the end so you can think about your next move while your opponent's playing. To round things out before we talk about creating a board, you can hit question mark at any time to see a help menu. This will show things like how to move the camera around or rotate a wall. There's also a warning icon that comes up next to your player window whenever your twin is in danger. Finally, at the beginning of the game, like many CAD games, you have the option to redraw your hand once for free, and then each additional time you redraw your hand, you'll get 1 less card in your opening hand. This doesn't affect how many cards you have in your deck. Creating a game board to play on can be a lot of fun, because it really affects the strategy of the game. When you go into the game board editor, you can either load an existing board, or just start from scratch. By hitting the keys 1 through 8, you determine how wide the brush you use is. Then by simply clicking and dragging, you can paint tiles on the board. By holding Control or Delete or Backspace while you drag the mouse, it'll erase tiles instead. Once you have the perfect board, simply hit S to save, type in a fun name, and hit OK. You can now play with that board against any of your friends by simply selecting it when you create a game. Woo! Congratulations, you made it all the way through. Remember, this is a prototype, so we'd love feedback. Now go invite your friends to the game, and kick their butt, and make them hate you, and us, for making this game.